You're driving home after work. No speeding, no drinking, no crime. Just a normal Tuesday night. Then suddenly, red and blue lights explode in your rearview mirror. You pull over safely, hands on the wheel, heart beating just a little faster. An officer walks up to your window, asks a few routine questions, looks around your car, and then says, "I'm going to search your vehicle." In that moment, most people believe they have no choice. But under the United States Constitution, that may not be true. Tonight on the Civil Audit, we're breaking down exactly when police can legally search your car, when they cannot, and the one sentence every American driver should know before they ever get pulled over. Welcome back to the Civil Audit, the channel where we explain your legal rights in plain, everyday English. No confusing legal jargon, no political spin, no fear tactics. Just clear, practical education about the laws that affect ordinary people every single day. And before we begin, let us know in the comments which city or state you're watching from tonight. Now, an important disclaimer. This video is created for educational and informational purposes only. The Civil Audit is not a law firm, and nothing in this video should be considered legal advice. Laws vary depending on your state, country, and specific circumstances. If you need legal guidance, consult a qualified attorney or legal professional in your area. Now let's begin with the foundation of everything we're discussing today. The Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution. It states the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects, against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. Those words matter, because the people who wrote the Constitution had experienced government abuse firsthand. Under British rule, authorities could search homes, seize property, and invade people's lives with very little justification. The founders of the United States wanted to make sure that would never happen again. So they created constitutional protections, limiting the government's power over ordinary citizens. And one of the most important protections is the Fourth Amendment. Today, that protection applies not only to your home and personal belongings, but also to your vehicle. Now, here's where things become complicated. The general rule under American law is simple. Police usually need a warrant to search your property. A warrant is a legal authorization signed by a judge. To obtain one, law enforcement must typically demonstrate something called probable cause, meaning there are specific facts suggesting evidence of a crime may be found. But vehicles are treated differently under the law. And that's where many Americans become confused, because over the last century, courts have created several important exceptions that allow police to search vehicles without first obtaining a warrant. And officers are trained extensively on these exceptions, which means citizens should understand them too. The first major exception is known as the automobile exception. This legal principle comes from a 1925 Supreme Court case called Carroll v. United States. The court ruled that because vehicles are mobile, because they can quickly leave the scene, officers may search a vehicle without a warrant if they have probable cause to believe it contains evidence of a crime or illegal contraband. That probable cause requirement is extremely important. It cannot be based solely on a vague suspicion or simple curiosity. There must be specific, articulable facts supporting the officer's belief. For example, an officer smelling illegal drugs coming from the vehicle, seeing a weapon in plain view, or observing evidence connected to criminal activity. Those situations may legally justify a warrantless search. But nervousness alone? Silence alone? Refusing consent alone? Courts have repeatedly stated that those factors, by themselves, do not automatically create probable cause. And here's the difficult reality. During a traffic stop, most people do not actually know whether probable cause legally exists in that moment, which is exactly why understanding your rights matters. And what we're about to discuss next may surprise many people the most, because millions of Americans unknowingly give up their Fourth Amendment protections every single year, voluntarily. The most common way vehicle searches happen in America is through consent, not warrants, not court orders, consent. An officer may simply ask, "Do you mind if I take a quick look inside your vehicle?" And if you say yes, you may have legally waived your constitutional protection against that search. This principle was reinforced by the Supreme Court in a 1973 case called Schneckloth v. Bustamante. The court ruled that consent must be voluntary, but officers are generally not required to inform you that you have the right to refuse. So let's talk about what you should actually do during a traffic stop. First, pull over safely and promptly. Keep your hands visible. Remain calm and respectful. Avoid sudden movements. Provide your driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance when legally required. If an officer asks to search your vehicle and you do not wish to consent, calmly state, "Officer, I do not consent to any searches." Say it clearly. That means many people consent without ever realizing they had a choice. But under American law, you are fully within your rights to calmly and respectfully say, "Officer, I do not consent to any searches." That statement alone does not make you guilty. It does not automatically create probable cause, and it does not remove your constitutional protections. It is simply the lawful exercise of a constitutional right, and how you say it matters. Stay calm. Stay respectful. Stay non-confrontational. Because real-life traffic stops are stressful, your heart is racing. Cars are speeding past you. An armed officer is standing beside your window. Most people are not thinking about constitutional law in that moment. They're thinking, "What am I supposed to do right now?" And that's exactly why legal education matters. Now, beyond consent and the automobile exception, there are several additional circumstances where officers may legally search a vehicle without a warrant. The first is called a search incident to lawful arrest. If a driver is lawfully arrested, officers may sometimes search portions of the vehicle connected to the arrest. This principle was significantly limited by the Supreme Court in Arizona v. Gant in 2009, which restricted how far these searches can go. Another exception is the plain view doctrine. If an officer conducting a lawful stop clearly sees illegal items inside the vehicle, such as drugs, illegal weapons, or contraband, those items may potentially be seized without a warrant. There is also something known as an inventory search. If a vehicle is lawfully impounded, police departments may conduct a standardized inventory of the vehicle's contents. Courts generally view this as an administrative procedure rather than a criminal investigation. And finally, there are exigent circumstances. This refers to emergency situations where officers believe immediate action is necessary and waiting for a warrant would be impractical or dangerous. Now, understanding these legal exceptions does not mean you must automatically agree with every search. It simply means you are informed about the legal framework governing these encounters. And knowledge changes everything. Say it respectfully. Say it once. Do not argue. Do not physically resist. Do not interfere with officers carrying out their duties. If a search occurs anyway, the roadside is not the place to fight that battle. Courts exist for that purpose. And if you believe your rights were violated, document everything you can remember afterward and speak with a qualified attorney as soon as possible. Let's go back to where we started. A normal person. A normal Tuesday night, flashing lights in the mirror. But now that person understands something they may not have known before. They understand that the Fourth Amendment exists for a reason. They understand that consent can be refused. They understand that constitutional rights still matter during ordinary moments of everyday life. And most importantly, they understand how to remain calm, informed, and respectful while protecting themselves legally. Because rights only protect people who know they exist. Confidence does not come from arguing with police. It comes from understanding the law before the situation ever happens. That's why the civil audit exists, to turn confusion into clarity and fear into awareness. If this video helped you better understand your rights today, give it a like. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who need this information. Subscribe to the Civil Audit for weekly legal education videos covering constitutional rights, police encounters, civil liberties, and real-world legal awareness across the United States and the United Kingdom. And tell us in the comments, what legal topic should we audit next? Until next time, stay calm, stay respectful, stay informed, and know your rights.